So ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಒಂದು get users list out all the users. I have done this thing as well. Along with the next task ಯಾವ್ದಿರೋದು ಒಂದು get users with an ID of 1 and get users with the ID of 2. I have to do this thing. After that post patch ಮತ್ತೆ delete ಮಾಡಿದ we can see that. Okay, so now I'm going to write the code for this task. ಇದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ. Right, so let's see how to write those tasks at ಹೇಗೆ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಅಂತ. Again with the same, I think ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ like ಒಂದು response HTML ಹೇಗೆ ಕಳಿಸೋದು. So right now I don't need this thing as well, so ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ just understandable purpose I have done. Let's start another task part. Particular user from their ID. So ID ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? So it's nothing but ID change. So localhost 8000 ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ whatever the thing starts after user ಏನಿದೆ after user ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ like ID of 1, ID of 2, ID of 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all ID and these are all, they are not much dynamic. It can be anything. So in the particular ID ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಹೀಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ, but you can use anything you want. It can be either a string or either a number. So for example user ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿ user ಹೇಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ this colon represents after this colon there is some parameter. Like either that particular parameter can be ID or that can be a string ಆದ್ರೂ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. I can enter Manoj is a string, and if I use or if I enter one, it's a number. Okay, ಇದು ನನಗೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So now let's dive into the code. Let's go how to do that. Dot get how are you using callback function ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? after that so ಇದು ನನಗೆ ಬೇಸ್ URL ಅಥವಾ ಇದು ID, ರೈಟ್? ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೋಲನ್ನ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರ ಅಂತ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಕೋಲನ್ ಅದೇನೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ರೈಟ್? I'm going to give, it can be anything ID ಅಂತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ you can give any string you want. So it's better to go with the ID. Why? Because I have a field or I have a key called ID in my particular mock.json ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, mock.json ಅಲ್ಲಿ I have the particular ID ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. So it's better to go with the standardized code. So let's make our code standard and write the code in the standard format. Next thing, what's the next thing I want? I have to write a code for the const ID. Const ID, I'm going to require that ID. I'm going to request for that. Request dot, then you can see the params. After that, what is that? It's the ID that you are using, right? Params can express that over the ID, right? But usually when they require params that ID and that it's the format of string. So let's convert this to a number. So even now number convert. Number. So how to convert number explicitly by using method called number and the method explicit number convert. What's the next thing that I want? So ID nಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆಲ್ಲ JSON ಫೈಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಟೈನ್. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ID ನ ಗೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಸೊ ಯೂಸರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಫೈಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ there is a method called find. So what I have to find? By this find method, it gets a function yaar ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು. I have to get the user. I'm going to use user as a parameter, and after that ಆ ಯೂಸರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಯಾವ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇವತ್ತು I'm targeting ID user of ID of an user dot ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ you can see the ID, like city, this email, first name, gender, ID. I'm going to target the ID. And if this user ID matches to this ID or this ID, like a parameter ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, this ID, ಈ ID ರೆಫರಿಂಗ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, this ID matches with that particular ID, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನನಗೆ response or written response should be the format of ಯಾವುದು JSON format ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಯೂಸರ್ ಡೇಟಾ, ರೈಟ್? ಯೂಸರ್ ಡೇಟಾ ನಮಗೆ JSON format ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಬೇಕು, right? That's it. This is how to get the user data using ID or parameter ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Let's start. So I have to move from main directory to main folder to project one folder. Npm start. It starts the server. It says server started in port number 8000. And go back to a browser and then start produced. Now it says cannot get a particular slash and route there is no data. Slash and route I'm not mentioned, but my starting ಹೇಗೆ start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ my main route starts from API slash users so main ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ API slash users and then I hit entering and this is my the data, right? But ನನಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು, so you can see here the entire data in the format of JSON. Entire data format ಆಗಿರೋದು JSON format ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. But key and value pairs, key and value pairs, key and key the value, or you can say it as attribute or the methods. And then I'm targeting only the ID, right? But all these data embedded in an array, you can see here all these JSON data is I have embedded it in an array. So but again after user, if I use any ID, so I'm going to use one. So you can see one ideally your name is Alexandra ಅಂತ ಏನೋ ಇದೆ. So I'm going to hit enter. Now we are going to get the Alexandra, right? And our particular ಒಬ್ಬ user ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಮಗೆ ID ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. I use 3. Now I'm going to get the data of a person with an ID of 3. It's nothing but Raymond on there. And if I use, okay, the data is from 1 to 1000 ತನಕ ಇದೆ. 1000 data ಅಷ್ಟೇ embed ಮಾಡಿದೆ. So if I use 250, that's it. So ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ. So the task ಇವಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. Now I completed the task of I think task.txt. I am done with the both these things with an ID of ID1, ID2. I have get these two things, right? Not these two things also done. These two things also. So if you want, we can use some emojis. Not necessarily, but it will be good understand. It's also done. Both are done. It's also done. Right? I've done these three things. And what's the next three on the out balance? The next three balance or next three out of the post, patch, and delete. Okay. Post, patch, and delete. So let's write code for that. ಆಯ್ತಾ ಬೇಡವಾ? Okay, fine. So post, patch, and delete. So post ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? Post create a new user. Patch edit the user with particular ID. If I use this particular parameter and ID 1 2 ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟು a particular user ನ edit ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. User information edit ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Which makes that particular user data can be editable ತರ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. And after that delete the user with particular ID. Use the particular ID use ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು delete ಅನ್ನೋ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು delete the particular user, right? So let's write code for all these things. HTML is not necessary. I'm going to try. And then this is also done. So the next thing that I have to do the get dot post, right? So what happens except get post, patch, and delete? You cannot do this internally. Internal ಆಗಿ like ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಸರ್ವರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಗೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. These post patch ಮತ್ತೆ delete I cannot done this explicitly. ನಾನು explicit ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. Explicitly or implicitly ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. I need the support of ಯಾವುದೋ ನನಗೆ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬೇಕು. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೋದು ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ something called API testing ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ there is a tool called POSTMAN agent ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. API testing tool ಯಾವುದು? API testing. I will explain what it is in this class. API testing tool ಯಾವುದು? Agent. Right? So API testing tool ಯಾವುದು? Postman agent ಇದೆ. So Postman agent ಗೆ so I will explain both. So Postman agent ಗೆ another one alternative ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ by usual ಅದು Visual Studio ದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಂತ ಇದೆ ಒಂದು extension there is something called Thunder Client. It's a VS Code extension. VS Code extension ಅಂತ so VS Code extension Thunder Client ಅಂತ so VS Code extension. API testing tool. So in the third party application help ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ right? To do all these tasks, post patch ಮತ್ತೆ but as of now we are not doing these things dynamically, but as of the hard code app.post what is the URL that I'm going to do. So my URL is going to be with that agent called oh I'm sorry the post alone. So here you are creating a user, so no need to give along with that something. Right now I'm just doing only so response for JSON and I'm just writing a string or whenever this post request has to be popped pending. So pending ಅಂತ ಬರಬೇಕು. So this is with respect to post. So let's just follow task here. Post create a new user, right? Right now I'm done with this post method. This is with respect to the post method. Create a new user, right? So post method illa kedagade idile. I'll tell you why. Next, what are the next thing that I have now? So app dot one is done. Next to app dot put request put or patch. It's patch ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ. I think it's patch, right? Yeah, it's patch. So patch request ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? Patch. So I need the same URL because I need the path name as well. Request and the response with the same return response dot status. This status is also going to pending status. Pending and then so it's same task ಏನಿದೆ. This is same for all the methods except post. So post ಗೆ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು get patch ಮತ್ತೆ delete. It's same for this particular URL ಏನಿದೆ /API/URL/users ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ along with the colon ID. It's same for all these methods, right? So ಅದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದೇ route ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರಿಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. So before that, okay, let me create again. I'm going to use this paste. Instead of this, I'm going to use delete. Delete with the same thing, patch. So it ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಏನಾದರೂ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಇರೋ ತರ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ. ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಕೋಡ್.
ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ.
Okay, fine. So now you can clearly see here this particular line ಏನಿದೆ, or particular this request or this particular URL, API users ID or API users ID, delete ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ, patch ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ, get ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ. So that shall I create the same so for all these kind of things, so ಇವೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ನಾನು shall I create one route with the particular ID, but the methods change ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. So how can I do that? Right, so I'll tell you what I'm doing. Making a single route for patch, delete, and the get. So more request that should be in the first place. Get, patch, ಮತ್ತೆ delete. I'm creating a one single route, but ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ post ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ change ಇದೆ. Why? Post is creating ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. I'm not going to use that particular route ಅನ್ನು add dot app dot route. So what's my URL? It's going to be API users ID, control C, and the control V. After that, if it is a patch request, or let's say let's go with get request. If it is a get request, so get request, but then again we're going to do this thing. That's it. If it is a get request, okay, interest here, right? And after that, if it is a, now I'm done with the get request. Request. See, if it is a patch request, so patch request ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, you'll have the same thing. I think this is the patch request. Patch request and the next go to delete request, right? So for delete request also you have the same thing. Right? Now done with everything. So you have under one route, under the one route roof under it, you have the get request. So, okay. The difference. Under the one route you have get request, patch, and this is one separate. The post request. The post request are the method. Delete method, delete patch, get. Now it's, I hope now is ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. As of now it's done with, I'm done with everything. So as I told, for API testing I have introduced something called POSTMAN agent, and one more thing is Thunderclient. So first starts with the POSTMAN agent. So it's familiarly ಅಂತಾರೆ. POSTMAN download. So it's a tool POSTMAN for the API. Download this POSTMAN agent. So please wait till it's downloading. Okay. So simultaneously, I'm going to introduce something, another extension called Thunder extension. If you don't do search ಮಾಡಿ Thunder client, Thunder client. So the first one, REST API client for VS Code. Why do you use that? To test the API, right? So I'm going to restart the account. And here you can see the icon, some Thunder around icon ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. Now I'm done. Thunder client ಹೇಗೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೇಮ್ POSTMAN ಮತ್ತೆ Thunder client ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಇದೆ. ನೀವು Thunder client ಹೇಗೆ here you can see the Thunder client. So I will say if you made a new request, so we will a new request also. So before that, so let's start our server. So without starting the server, I think server already started. Yeah. Yes. So background download ಆಗ್ತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ it's getting bit late ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Then hit enter. Let's wait for a few minutes. Let's say server started at port 8000. So same thing I'm performing the Thunder client, whatever the task I would have to perform in the server or the Chrome. The extension upon color TCL. So what's your see, here we have to use the URL. So here we have something called all the requests. So get, post, put, delete, patch, add options, drop, find, custom. So these are type of requests. So now I'm using get request. So get request and what I have to get. So first you have to mention its URL, HTTP, and after that with the local host port number 8000. After that, what's your URL API slash users, and then send. It's going here. You can see the response, right? See here you can see the response. Right? Here you can see your response. It's in the format of this thing. So what's the next thing that I used to do? Getting the request with the ID number. So I'm going to use ID 4, and then I'm going to get the particular data. Right? This is how I'm using the Thunder client as a to test the particular API now. So in the task ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, so I mean you can see status ಏನಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ದು request ಅಥವಾ request ಏನು response status ಏನಿದೆ it's 200 okay, and then host size it's 123 bytes, and then how many time it takes? It took around 70 milliseconds. So your main task is to reduce this time. So because it's not only making, most of the times it depends on your device or internet connection. But in general, you have to make this. Your task is to perform. Like your task is to make this time short. Time na kadme ಮಾಡೋದು task ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Okay. Along with the same thing, I have to perform the. So ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? Thunder client, right? So let's make another request called post. Post ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು. So post request ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೋಡೋಣ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. So post request ಗೆ ಏನು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? It's saying that cannot post API slash user. Then not this user. So now you can see the status pending ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, right? So if I use another for example, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು request ಬರೋಣ ಅಥವಾ if I use delete again it's the same pending, right? Within the same task ನಾನು next class ಅಲ್ಲಿ with respect to postman ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. Okay, thank you.